got that. I will paste that into Slackaroo. Oh, yep, I know they can't hear you. Let's just go fix that right now. Okay, now they should be able to hear you.
Now can they hear me?
I got Lori singing. That's good.
She writhing around on Jaguars also.
Yeah, Lori, you'll get him in just a second. Or if you don't, if you hear this and you don't, there you go.
Lucky you guys.
Internet speed says it is happy with me.
That's because what I'm saying is more important, Brett. I'm sure you're, depending on which Tawny Katane you introduced your sons to, Lori, I'm sure they were excited to see that.
Yeah, I almost, yesterday I was listening to, random mix on Pandora and it played some weird, I'd never heard song before. I was like, I like this. I almost sent you a screenshot. Be like, here, another weird song I like.
You should have. Absolutely. Lori and I talk about music all the time.
I know. I think the problem was I was, I knew that would then mean I was even more distracted from actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm currently saving the day on a project that is having some issues. So I've been working very diligently. Let's see if Pandora is smart enough to tell me what song I liked yesterday.
I keep hearing that Tesla is threatening to give Spotify to us US folks. I would like that.
I mean, Slack is not very good, so
the song depth is not very deep.
Speaking of that, my beloved children are into 90s rap right now, or hip hop, or whatever you want to call it. So for one of Grant's games, we had a sub coach. Whatever, don't get me started. Right, as much as you hate the stuff we were talking about, I think I hate soccer even more.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, the good news, I'll be in St. Louis, for a kids soccer exhibition. I mean, who doesn't want to drive to St. Louis to have a couple exhibition games? Anyway, so the coach was playing some stuff. Whatever he was playing was fine. It was it was edited. It was kid appropriate. So on the way to our next soccer game, we hopped into Slack. I'm like, all right, well, we said play Can't Touch This by MC Hammer. So that played. That was good. And so then it just kind of starts trying to find other songs in that genre, right? And so I think it played a Snoop Dogg next, which was probably not appropriate for children.
Probably not, yep.
And when it got done, I was like, all right, well, it can't be any worse than that. I don't even know why I said these such stupid words. It got real bad. We had to skip the next one. I forget what song it was, but it was
some Two Live Crew or something.
Yeah, it was bad.
And in the chat room, they're saying you should turn me down a little bit. I think that's a horrible idea, but that's
clearly. So turn Todd down. So that would be.
That would be sad.
In theory, I think I've turned Todd down.
I get turned down all the time. I don't know why you should be any different.
I don't know. I'm sure Jill probably has 17 different ways to do it.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's look. Do we have anything else to add to the notes?
No, I mean, I guess at least the first four are all somewhat appropriate.
Valuable.
Chat room, did he get better?
Of course I did. I only get better. Oh, yeah, I've had some of that, too. 3A2.
Yeah. I knew which one you were talking about.
Freaking I mean, I like it, and I would probably recommend it to the correct audience if anybody asked, but it has not been as smooth and seamless as I had hoped. And not as smooth and seamless as it was before I changed everything.
Yeah, it can be very hateful, right?
Yeah. So I'll add something. Yeah. So Shane, to you, do I sound loud? Should I be turning myself down?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe just give yourself
I can never remember which one of these.
A little nudge.
All right. So here I'm talking and I'm turning it down a little bit. How's it now? Better?
It sounds about the same, quite frankly.
About the same. Brett, in about 7 minutes, you'll have to let me know how it sounds. So to you, Shane, did it change at all?
I mean, just a touch. I mean, and I think, I was definitely hearing a little bit of, when you got excited, you're...
Oh, and I get excited.
I think that goes back to our previous comments.
Oh, if you guys could hear the pre-show.
Lori, he's louder than everyone. He's louder than my children.
It's not true. Not louder than my children, that's for sure.
Kids make noise.
No one tells you that when you're going to have kids. No one tells you.
Nope.
No more distortion, so that's good.
Yeah, Lori, in my frames, something about XSplit, I mean, it skips locally for me, right? So it's not internet, whatever. It's something in XSplit in that camera, which is, okay, I don't have this problem in Camtasia, clearly, because I make YouTube videos with this camera all the time. It is just XSplit does not like this camera. And I don't know why.
My frame is smooth. Hey, it is the top of the hour.
No, now I'm looking for buttons I can press. I'm not pressing buttons, most likely.
Nothing good can come from that. Come here. Come here. Oh, OneNote. Yeah, I don't know, like, if there... So we're not using XSplit for what XSplit is trying to be, so I don't know that they have, like, a camera that works best with XSplit.
I wonder if let's try this. What possibly can happen?
Yeah, like my machine could power down.
Nope, that didn't fix it. Yeah, a little bit better.
How about now?
Yeah, I'm just going to press buttons until it stops working. That is my new plan. Why would you turn that down?
As usual, Lori's ready to go. Just waiting on us.
Just waiting on me. Hey, ooh, ooh.
Waiting on Shane trying to bend XSplit.
I mean, it looks like I might have made it a little better. It was trying to stream my camera at 60 frames per second.
That's far too many frames of you per second.
I agree, and it agrees. Okay, let's do this thing so I can
Do the
get
thing.
back to work.
All right, I have work that I could be going back to also. All right, Lori, we're doing the thing. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shane and Todd's Cloudy Podcast, episode 439, recorded live August 21st, 2019. Shane, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody? It's been a while since we've done one of these things. People might not remember who we are.
Well, so my name is Shane Young, and the good news is though is because you've got several still in the can. I mean, in reality, they're all going to come out at the same time, so they know me from the last episode. Even the last episode like a month ago, they still so it's
That's
better
true.
for them.
That's true. This has been a busy summer for us, and we were just talking before we went live that we both are in the middle of some things and need to get back to it. It's been pretty crazy. Now, I do want to say that while it has been busy a lot with customer things, I am wearing a shirt here. I did take time to go on vacation last week in the Caribbean, so I'm wearing a Caribbean.
Right? Which vacation? I mean, you've had like 7 this summer.
I think it was number seven or eight. I can't remember.
I mean,
They all kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I assume you had a post-Caribbean vacation to settle in from the vacation.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing, so the story about this shirt is funny because the last time we went down, the airline lost our bag, and there's like one flight a day from Atlanta to Jamaica or wherever the heck we were. And so I had one of the things. So if you ever stay at like an all-inclusive resort in the Caribbean and all that, your room's not often ready when you get there because the way the flights are. And so you end up spending some time before you can change and get settled in. So I always keep like a pair of swimming trunks and a tank top and some flip-flops and stuff in my carry-on so that I can change and not sit around in jeans and a sweatshirt in, the 90-degree heat. So I had all of that, but what I don't ever pack is the clothes that I'm going to wear, like to supper that night or whatever. And so I didn't have a shirt that I wanted to wear. So I had to buy this shirt last time we went down, or sit at supper topless or whatever. So
and which one is supper? I forget what that is.
That's second dinner, or I forget. Yeah.
It's very complicated. But so your room still wasn't ready by the time you got to
Last year it wasn't. Nah, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean this year it was pretty close. I forget, but that's not uncommon. So at least with Delta, most of these flights, it's one plane that flies down and back in the day. So it has to get down there early so that it can turn around and get back in time. And so you end up landing at like noon, but your room's not ready till 2 or 3. And there's a bunch of stuff you can do. You can go eat, you can do whatever, but you got to have clothes that are, specific to that. So you seem good.
I'm still trying to figure out this whole supper thing. I need like a time scale map.
Map. Breakfast, second breakfast. Yeah, we'll get her figured out for you. Someone translate for Shane. Supper.
Supper. Well, that's good. I'm glad that A, you survived your 7th vacation, and that B, your shirt has such a story. I mean, it's a fancy old man shirt.
It's not a typical Todd shirt. That's for sure. And I've got a good tan. I went out. I ran outside every day, so I got a good. We were in Antigua, or Antigua, depending on who you talk to, Antigua or Antigua. Got lots of sun, and oh yeah.
And did you run like on hard stuff, or did you run on the beach and really build those muscles and exercise?
Did not run on the beach much. Number one. Yeah. Basically, so I buy shoes to run in, and I only run about 400 miles in a pair of shoes, and I just bought some new shoes. So I would have ran in the sand had I had old shoes, but I didn't want to run in the sand with my new shoes and chew them up. But I ran on the street and in the shoulders.
And were you shot or stabbed or otherwise mugged?
No, but nearly ran over any number of times.
Okay.
The roads there are pretty narrow, and the cars are pretty small, and the people zip around a lot, and I'm just not used to it. The other thing is Antigua used to be British, so they drive on the wrong side of the road, and I talked to them about that, but they don't seem to care. So then the cars are coming from the wrong way. I mean, I'm running in the correct spot, but they all seem like they're swerving over to hit me, but really that's just where they drive, and the potholes. It was. I'm lucky to have escaped with my life. Yeah.
Yeah, you're braver than me. I've been like, I'm just not gonna leave this this place and go out there with the common folk.
When we got there, we talked to our butler, and I told him, I'm like, hey, I normally run outside. So like when we went to Grenada, I ran outside. St. Lucia, I ran outside. I'm like, hey, I normally run outside. Where's a good path? Where should I do it? And I'd look some stuff up, and I wasn't worried about getting mugged or anything like that. And he's like, oh God, no. Yeah, don't do that. That's not safe. What do you mean it's not safe? He's like, roads around here are crazy. You'll get run over. Don't do that. I'm like, I gotta do something. I can't.
Turns out the butler was correct.
He was a little dramatic. I didn't die. obviously. But yeah, there were a couple times where I was like, you should be not driving so close to me because I don't want to die here.
Did you call him Jeeves?
I didn't. I called him Kevin because that was his name. But
He's the butler. You can call him whatever you want.
that's true. That is true. So now it was a good vacation. Got a good tan. Kind of the calm before the storm. For us, school hasn't started yet, but it starts on Friday. But there's activities going on this week. So.
Well, and I see, in all your vacation fun, you managed to hang a new sign in the background. For those of us that aren't on the show, the video.
Yeah. So finally, after months, no years of mocking and disrespect from Shane, the folks at SysKit did provide me with a better sign, and so it's over here. And we put it up minutes before the show started. It looks fairly level. I still have to kind of get the edges down so the glare is not so bad, and I have to get the old sign out. But yes, it's a much better sign, mostly level.
I know. I mean, this is kind of unfair, right? So Todd made me help put it up. So if I'm like, Todd, it is not level, it's only me to blame?
I tricked him. But in Shane's defense, he'd be like, okay, the left side up a little. The left side down a little. Right side up. Clearly, it had been level 6 times as I'm moving everything around. And he's,
Yeah, but I had Todd doing what I wanted, so I just kept barking out commands. I'm like, stand on one foot! Stand on one foot!
No, you're not standing on one foot.
He fell for it twice.
Yeah. So yes, a new SysKit Santa, and thanks to those folks. And I've been writing blog posts for those guys. I don't have links in the show notes. I'll put some in. I've written some blog posts on Teams for them, some stuff on groups. So go out and check out. If you go to syskit.com into the blogs. Also, Otis has been writing some blog posts for them as well. He works there. And so there's just a bunch of great content out there. So check out syskit.com.
Very nice. And just to make fun of Todd, right, I went ahead and ordered myself a new fat head over there, right? It's a little Chewy, a wall mount of Chewy. So since he's the official company mascot, we thought he should get a little more up there.
Yeah, because you guys don't love Chewy enough at the house there. So he...
I mean, he's big, fat, that I make fun of. You can't hear me. But he's an internet celebrity. I can't tell you how many times a week we get emails from people saying, tell Chewy I said hi, or, give Chewy some pets for me. So we've kind of embraced it as part of the company. I mean, when you sign up for our training, we send you a thank you letter from Chewy. I mean,
he's going to be the next grumpy cat.
Yeah, we just roll with it.
Excellent. So we have some technical topics we wanted to talk about.
Okay.
The reason everybody came, not just for our handsome faces and witty repertoire or all that. So you've got in the notes, you had to get a static IP address. What's all that about?
Oh. So, I've had the same IP address for probably the last 3 years, right? Yep. Just by, I guess dumb luck, right? The DHCP address the provider gave me has been the same since I moved to this provider. And that's important because a lot of the stuff I do with like Azure SQL Server or Azure SQL Database as a Service, it's all, there's an IP firewall built into that by default. So there's about 30 customers out there that have, my IP address for here in their firewall rules so I can get in and manage their databases for them.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. So they're building a new house kind of up the street. I saw them in the morning digging with a backhoe. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. About an hour later, about 45 minutes later, we lost electricity for 3 or 4 hours. Electricity came back. I got a new IP address, and there was much crying. Much crying. So I reached out to my local Cincinnati Bell and said, hey, I would like a static IP address. They said, great, we'll do that for you for $30 a month. $30 a month to set a static DHCP lease. I'm like,
that is a lot.
Robbery. And it is, right? They know that if you need one, it might as well have been $500, right? I had to have one. Couldn't say no. They're just, just sticking it to me. What I found even weirder, though, was, right, because clearly we're a bunch of nerds. We understand how all this stuff works. To do it, they had to send a technician to my house who had to, it took him like an hour being here to assign a static IP. I'm like, you guys are doing this wrong.
Yeah. Well, that guy probably was only getting paid, $17 an hour, so they don't care to.
It's true.
They don't care.
Yeah, surprised it wasn't a setup fee. But yeah, and it looks like, so I kept poking him. Like, I just didn't believe him. Like, he kept telling me things about the process. And I'm like, I don't really believe you. But I think what it boils down to is that my modem from them is still getting a dynamic address.
Okay.
And then the modem's guts are grabbing a static. Sorry, my modem is getting a dynamic address.
Yep.
Inside the guts of the modem, it is then going and pulling a static address, and then it is passing that into my network. And it's something to do with the way that, because they also do like internet phone, internet TV. And so it all kind of diverges. But basically now my modem is grabbing two IP addresses. One is the dynamic one that they've always loved, but then now it also has a static one in there. So then I had to go into my router and literally tell it to grab this very specific static one. It was really awkward and confusing and more work than I really wanted it to be.
Yeah, that sounds odd.
So in the way he was trying to explain it, once again, I don't know if I believe any word that came out of this guy's mouth, but he said that with the TV service, they dynamically balance the load, and so apparently they switch the IP addresses all the time. So like if this block of IP addresses is watching too much TV, then they change your IP address to move you into a different block, so then you're then watching TV differently.
I could make that work in my head if I had to.
Yeah, I mean I can make it work, but it sounded hokey.
Yeah.
Kind of like your sign is like not a fan of what's going on here.
Jesus. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad stuff. So like 15 years ago, I wanted static IP addresses for my cable modem. And I wanted multiples because I wanted to have multiple websites and all that. And my ISP had a package where you could buy a block of, 7 or 8 IP addresses, whatever it was, minus the broadcast and all that.
Oh.
So I'm like, sweet, let's do that. Expecting that they would give me a block. They would give me like a CIDR, a block. And then I would put that in my router. And then I would port forward, whatever. No, what they did was they gave me 7 individual IP addresses. No 2 were anywhere near each other. And the only way they could do it was by MAC address. So I had to hook 7 machines up directly to the internet so they could map a MAC to every individual IP. I'm like, you guys are doing this wrong. This is not how any of this is supposed to go.
Yeah, this is not internet, internet protocol routing at its finest. So I was really dumbfounded, and then. So kind of to transition a little bit, but both of us have the Ubiquity stuff, right?
Yep.
And and I think we both basically at this point have roughly the same systems, right? You bought some of the pieces I had bought, and we kind of keep. Right?
I think the only difference is you bought the dedicated cloud key to run the management software on, and I'm running it on a machine.
Yeah, but you did do the gateway, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so I've gotten real used to everything about the network I manage on the device on my phone. Right?
Yep.
Just open it up, boop, 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 boop. Guess what you can't do? You can't manage network IP, or you can't manage static WAN IPs for the USG from the phone. So I had to figure out how to log into a computer to get into that.
Go to the web page.
Yeah, and it probably took me 20 minutes to figure out how to get the computer to log in.
So I only ever do it from the web page. I rarely use my phone.
Well, you would not have had the problems that I had.
Yeah. Now, what I do need to do is I need to hook my DSL up as a second WAN provider, and I've not done that in all the load balancing.
Yeah, because the USG has both, right? It can do 2 WANs, yeah.
Yep, it does. I've been mostly happy about it. I do want to say, so Shane and I have the gateway, which is like a router. And then Shane's got the cloud key hardware, which is the management for all of it. I'm running the management software on a Windows 10 box. And then we each have 3 access points. And I think I have the Unify AC AP Pro. I think is that what you have?
I did the AP long range.
Okay. And so it's all managed in one spot. It's very handy. And I've had those access points for 5 years, 6 years, maybe. Long time. Had them in my old house, had them before the USG and all that. I've developed a problem recently where different firmware levels on those access points make machines not get IP addresses. It drops DHCP packets. So like my phone will attach to wireless, and will send out, and I watch it on my DHCP server. It will send out a request. The DHCP server will send it back the answer, and then somewhere in that last couple of steps of the DHCP process, the packet gets dropped, so the device never gets an IP address. And so it's on the Wi-Fi, but it can't get anywhere. It's got a 169.254 address. If I hard code a static address, everything's fine. But obviously that doesn't scale very well. So that's come up a few times over the last few months, and every time the fix has been putting a different version of the firmware on the access points, which is odd. But I've had to do that 3 times now.
Yeah, I have not had that problem at all like you. I was really scared, right? 'Cause I was having some weirdness when you had it the first time, but my weirdness went away, so I didn't think about it. But I have not had that. I do have a series of AP firmware updates waiting to be posted. The problem is the only time I ever catch that I have these updates that weren't posted is when I want to be using the internet.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wish you could just schedule and say, hey, at 2 o'clock in the morning tonight, do your thing.
Yep. So what I end up doing, I've got 3 of them, 3 access points. And so I normally do this kind of stuff at night. And when I'm doing it, I'm on my basement access point. So I'll update the other 2. And then when I go to bed that night, I hook up to the access point that's upstairs. Then I'll get on the phone app and do the one in the basement.
There you go.
Oh, so yes, the syskit sign has fallen down roughly 73 times since we started this. So
it's the number of vacations you had.
Yes, but no, the Ubiquity stuff's been pretty good. I would recommend it, but it's
I've been pretty happy with it as well. You know, so it's interesting down here in the basement. So it's just right out of the frame. I have the access point sitting on the top of my desk, pointed up, right? Because I don't want to send it that way. And then originally when I put the access point upstairs, not thinking about it, I put it facing up as well. And the internet connections were kind of crappy. And so recently it's now sitting on the table that's sitting on, but it's just sitting on its face. So that way it's then pushing down. Right? These are the little things that you start to figure out. So you have 3, I actually only have 2. And so I put in a new Ring camera.
Yep.
And it is all the way on the edge of where it can reach based on it, and flipping and all that kind of worked it all out. So it was, I'm going to go to a 3rd one as soon as we do another little project here at the house. But
yeah, it works pretty well. I've had it. So speaking of your troubles with the power going out, there was a long time ago, you'll remember, every time I left the state of Iowa, my website would go down.
Yes.
And that has been true to form twice now in the last month. And so that's been interesting. So the first one was in July. We were at my in-laws' house, and then I was going to take one of my kids up to Minnesota and was not going to come back to Ames, but the power went out in Ames while we were at my in-laws' house. And when the power came back on, my website did not. So I had to come home in the middle of that trip and find out what was going on. Now you would say to yourself, I've got a massive, network thing in my basement with lots of lights. It's very flashy. And I have 2 UPSs, which apparently when you go and buy them now, you can't say UPSs. You have to call them battery backups, because if you say UPS at the Best Buy, they have no idea what you're talking about. Well. But 2 battery backups. And both of them ran for a while, but one of them, when the power came back on, the battery backup did not turn itself back on. 100% of the fix was me hitting the power button on the battery backup. And it came back on, and it was charged, and everything was happy, and my servers and all that lit back up, which kind of sucks. And then I was in Antigua, and same thing happened. Power went out. It was off for a while. USB or battery backup shut down. So obviously I could not come back just for that. And we had our niece feeding the cats. So I had her text me, and for about an hour, I was like, all right, here's this box, what's going on? And it happened one more time while we were gone. The power would go out and the battery backup just did not turn back on.
That's, right. UPSs are great, but, battery backups, wouldn't want to call them anything. But I mean, honestly, in all my years of dealing with them both as in the professional world and in the home for a while, they never seem to work when I want them to work. It's very odd.
Well, I mean, that's one of those things where you wouldn't know. Like if the power flickered, everything stays up. The other thing that's funny is I've got a battery backup on this machine. This machine was up the whole time. Like the uptime on the desktop that I'm on now is like, well, I guess I probably rebooted it for a patch, but it was fine. But for whatever reason, the ones I've got in there have just not been performing correctly.
So with our power going out again, right? Every time our power goes out, I get closer and closer to buying just a whole house generator. One day I'm going to just bite the bullet and do it. It'll make me happy.
They are so very loud and a lot of work. I've talked to a couple of friends that have them. Talk to some people that have them before you buy one.
Well, I think there's different ones though, right? I mean, are you saying that all of them are just loud and obnoxious?
If you get one that's large enough to do the thing that you want to do, it's going to be pretty loud, I think. Brett brings up an interesting point. Get a power wall. Would love to look into that and see if that's an option.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go solar if I didn't live in Ohio where we don't get really enough sun.
I've thought about it. One half of my house, the roof all faces south, and I don't know what there's some people in town that have solar. I would want to talk to them, but when it comes time to replace the roof, I will give that strong consideration.
Yeah. Well, and half of our roof also faces perfectly south. Unfortunately, it is the front half. So the front of my house would be.
For me, it is the back half, and I actually can't put solar panels on the street-facing roof. So.
Yeah, and I priced right since you brought up the Tesla solar roof, right? The actual like the tiles, and I priced that one time, and it was it was a cartoon number.
Yeah.
For my house, like like in 30 years you'll break even. I'm like,
I'll be dead in 30 years.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think regular solar panels, right, are still the more cost effective way to go.
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking into it. We're a few years away from needing to do that. But so other technical topics. There've been some changes here in my PowerShelling. I've been doing a lot of PowerShell for customers lately, and I have started moving over from the beloved PowerShell ISE, the integrated scripting environment, and I've started using Visual Studio Code for my PowerShell.
Todd Clint, I don't love you anymore.
It's been a rough transition. I've done a lot of questioning of myself and just where I fit in the world and it's been rough. Part of it is the ISE. I've been using it for 8 years, 10 years, kind of a long time. I'm used to it, but it is a dead end. Microsoft is not doing any more with it. VS Code is where they see themselves going, and so I finally broke down and did that. It doesn't have all of the pieces that I want for PowerShell that I'm used to. For instance, the snippets don't work. You have to do that differently. But I have started using it for like XML files, and it's got a lot of tools built in for, helping out with your syntax in PowerShell and fixing your XML and your JSON files and all that. I'm slowly getting there. What really helps for me is I work with a bunch of developers, and so as I have questions, I can ask Mark or Julie, how do you do this? Which extension do you use? And that's been okay. So if you're a PowerShell person, start considering VS Code. It's not all horrible.
Good news, I'm not going to.
Yeah. So the other thing, so in the chat room, Lori's talking about if I get called a dev a lot, I get called a dev a lot. And another reason that's been happening is I've also started moving all of my PowerShell over to Azure DevOps. Once again, I have no good idea what the word DevOps means, but Azure DevOps is a product, and it is essentially like the GitHub, but from Azure. So it uses Git in the background to synchronize things, and it stores it up as projects and repos in Azure. And so that's been kind of cool. So I have, call it 3 machines that I noodle on when I'm doing personal PowerShell or business PowerShell. And with the whole Azure DevOps thing, I can keep it all in sync as I move from machine to machine. And you're probably thinking, well, you could already do that with Dropbox or OneDrive or whatever. And that's what I had been doing. So that was working. But what this gives me is the ability to roll back changes and see, get different versions of the file. So I can work on things, and then once I commit it and move it up, if something's broken, I can roll back and see what changed between files. And it's been, yeah, I'm not hating it.
August 21st, 2019, folks, that is when Todd Quinn officially admitted he was a dev. He talked about submitting things up and rolling them back in repositories. And
committing and pulling and, yeah.
Sorry, this is the day our friendship ended. It was a good run.
It's bound to happen.
Even the poster's leaving you. The poster's going to try and fall off the wall right now. Nobody wants to hear about you becoming a dev. Take it back, Todd. Take it back.
Oh, it's been an interesting journey. But the Azure DevOps piece has been helpful, and I've got some people that I exchange code with, and they look at stuff, and I mean, obviously everybody's been doing this with Git and GitHub for 100 years, so I'm not breaking any new ground here. But the Azure DevOps pieces work pretty well. It integrates right with VS Code, so as I'm doing my PowerShell and code, commits right up, and if I've got it open in another machine, it pulls them down, and it's been working pretty well.
Man, remember those two guys that had to figure out how to create a site collection in SharePoint and PowerShell?
It only took like 2 hours.
Yeah. Now you've got thousands and thousands of lines of code that it's insane.
Yeah, and the VS Code's kind of fun because once you install the PowerShell extension, it goes through and checks your code. So like if you use aliases, it yells at you for that. And if you do logic things backwards, it grabs that. If you assign a variable but don't ever reference it, it tells you about that. I mean, it's just got a bunch of little. It's not bad. I'm working on it.
Yeah, and I'm sure this does not come as a shock to anyone, right? But PowerShell is definitely one of those skills that if you you don't use it, you lose it. So I was trying to troubleshoot one of my mega scripts the other day, and I touch PowerShell like once a quarter at best, and I'm like, well, I don't even know what this means anymore. Right, so I had to like go jog my memory, like, all right, what does this commandlet do? Okay, right, and I got back to it pretty fast. But it's funny how quick that stuff will go if you stop writing it on a regular basis.
Yeah. It's I've been doing it a bunch. Like I think all the projects I'm working on right now, I'm just slinging a bunch of PowerShell for different things. One big project that I'm working on now is page modernization. So a customer that had thousands of pages and classic pages that they've been using for news and all that, transforming them into modern news pages. That's been pretty fun. That's oddly entertaining. I've enjoyed it.
Nice.
But that one's been that script is hundreds of lines of code, many functions. It's
well, that's I owe PowerShell all of my my Power Apps skills kind of translated, right? One of the scripts I wrote 2 nights ago, right? Because who doesn't do stuff at night? Or one of the functions I wrote was a loop inside of a loop to then go and write some a bunch of stuff, right? And this is like just not fathomed in the Power Apps world. I'm like, no, all the pieces are here. You just got to do this and hold your hand this way and hide this thing over here, and right. But it was from a PowerShell, right? It was really just a for each object stacked twice in something, for each object and for each one of those objects type of thing. And it made complete sense to me. And I showed it to another Power Apps person. They're like, I don't even.
That should not work. There's no way that works.
Yeah, it's. So I mean, God bless PowerShell. I think it's such a great skills. We've been telling people for years you should learn it, and even if you don't want to do it full time, it just it transfers. The skills you learn, this whole mentality of logic and looping and that type of stuff. It just transfers so well, no matter where you go.
Yep, I've it's been fun. So, yep. So if you're out there, don't be afraid of VS Code or Azure DevOps if you're a PowerShell-y person. It doesn't mean you're a developer. I'm not a developer.
You've been working, right? This is all about who you hang out with. You've been hanging out with nothing but developers since you took this new job.
Yeah, there's I threw out the phrase key value pair to one of my coworkers, Emily. I'm like, we're working on some stuff. I'm like, you just need to set up a hash, a dictionary. She's like, what's that? I'm like, well, it's just a set of key value pairs. And one of the other people on the call is like, you understand, like all of that is developer talk, right? Like that's why she doesn't understand that, because she's not a developer. Like, stop it.
Nope. See, I'm the other way. We argue about JSON all the time. Like, look, it's just text with curly brackets around it. Shut up.
Yep.
It's not code. It's text.
Text. All right. So you've got something in here about password managers. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I still have not. I want to roll out like a corporate password manager for the
Yep.
old Power Apps 911. So I had planned on like by doing website type of research. I was like, all right, I think LastPass Enterprise does what I want
Okay.
because it has all the sharing and all that. But one of the nice things that it had was the ability to do federation, so that you would be able to log into LastPass with your Office 365 username and password. So not adding an extra set of credentials to people's lives. And
Yep.
that to me was a selling point. Nicole was like, yep, I don't care. It costs more. That's perfect.
Yep.
So I started the trial for that. And then I got into the devils and the details, right? Because that's when they finally tell you all the details. And it's like, oh, you have to have Azure AD Premium in order to do the federation. So, so not only was it going to be, I forget what it was, like $9 a month for LastPass Enterprise, but then I also have to upgrade everyone's Azure accounts or give everyone Azure whatever premium, which is also like $9 a month. I'm like, you just doubled my cost. So I ended up punting on that. And I don't know. So they have a LastPass Teams, but now they don't really have a way to get out of the LastPass Enterprise trial and go like downgrade yourself. Like they're like, oh, buy this. I'm like, no. So I deleted my account. So I'm hoping when it cycles all out, I can just like start over again and try the Teams trial. But I think that'll be what I do because it gives me the sharing and stuff. The only downside is you'll have to have a separate username and password to get into LastPass.
And how much is that per user?
Don't quote me on it, but I think it's like $4.
Gotcha. At Simpraxis, we use 1Password.
Okay.
And it seems to be okay.
Well, that was kind of what I wanted to bring this up on the show. Is I'd love to hear about 1Password or any of the other ones you've looked at, because I don't know anything in this space other than the LastPass website that I read that lied to me. So
yeah, I would. I'm only using 1Password because they force me to.
Okay.
And not because there's anything wrong with password managers. They're a great tool. But like you, I was kind of paralyzed by all the options, so could never decide on one. And Mark and Julie are like, well, we use this one, so now you use this one. And so to get into the corporate things, I had to have it. And then part of what 1Password does if you have a corporate account is they give you a family account as part of that.
Oh.
So I have, my Todd@Simpraxis.com that has my customer things in it, and then whatever Mark and Julie have shared for other customers thing, and things like corporate credit cards and just all that kind of information is in there. But then I also have one for just me, and it's a family account. So I've created a login for Jill and all that. So now things like, logging into the school website and logging into the electric company website, we all have that in a separate 1Password account. And of course, there's the mobile app on the phones and the web app, and it integrates itself into your browsers. And I've been pretty happy with it.
Interesting. Well, then maybe I'll go give them a try, since LastPass is just grinding my gears.
Yeah, I don't think it does the federation, so you'll have to deal with that. But so Kevin in the chat room saying first family account is free. So I'm not sure what that means, because I know I've got 2 accounts in my family account, myself and my wife. And I think they're both free. I don't remember giving them any information, but maybe it's charging some Praxis. Hell, I don't know. But
the good news is that Nicola is going to get a company account, so she is.
Yeah, so you're set.
Covered.
You don't need the family account.
And that's what's the name? This is 1Pass.
1Password.
1Password. Okay.
1Password.com.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Well, and the problem, right? The other reason I have been so reluctant to change is that I currently have a password manager from like 1912, right? That is like a standalone running on my machine password manager.
Yeah.
So I've used that. I mean, literally since probably the early 2000s, and so I'm like, I feel like this one does not have any backdoors or shenanigans, right? I mean, it's just been an open source one that's been out there for a million years. I don't update it; it just runs.
Yeah, I before we used 1Password, I had an encrypted OneNote file that I had all my stuff in. And then I used the Chrome bit. So that's another fun thing. With 1Password, you can go into Chrome and export all of your passwords out of there and import that into 1Password.
Oh, that does sound handy.
So, and I'm guessing LastPass does that as well. So I've been doing that, and I've just become like every time I have to type a password in, I make sure that it's in one password, and I've just been slowly moving them over. And yeah, I'm not unhappy with it. It's not perfect. I cuss at it once in a while, but it's not bad.
Oh, well, I think I will. I think I'll give them. I think they get on your recommendation. They're going to get a shot.
On my tepid to lukewarm recommendation, yeah,
I mean, the other ones made me angry, so it's tepid is one step ahead. So.
yep, it's good stuff. And I'm glad I've moved to it, but the OneNote file was fine. But obviously, the password manager is a hell of a lot better, so it's been a much better experience for me.
Yeah, and I definitely use Chrome's password store a lot. So
Oh, all the time, all the time.
And then on the iPhone, they've got Apple's got their own built-in thing, so I use that one for all that stuff. And
yep,
so I got passwords all over the place, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm sure that 1Password has an Apple app, but yeah, I've used it on my phone, so it's in there.
Well, good. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of what I was hoping for, is just to get an idea. I mean, definitely viewers, if you got any thoughts, feel free to tweet us. I'd love to hear ideas. But I am new to this space, but I know it's somewhere I need to go deeper.
Yep.
You want to go to just kind of start H&I and kind of go on the way out, or you want to hit one of those other ones first?
Yeah. I mean, if you've got something exciting with F or G, I would like to hear that. But I know that Lori would probably like to hear about G.
All right. Well, so then G. So I mentioned earlier we've got I just bought the Ring Spotlight Cam.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that installed over the weekend. Yay me. And it's been a pretty good little device, right? Because I already had the Ring doorbell. I have to point at, like, you guys really know where I'm pointing at, right?
I know. I know the layout of your house. I know your point. Yeah.
There you go. But so I've had
I nearly died up there. Yeah.
I've had the Ring doorbell for probably a year or so now, and mostly been happy with it. Mostly forget it's there for the most part. We don't use it as a video doorbell very often, but it's kind of nice to have it there in case something ever did come up, right? We've got a history of who's been through, because it's just recording and doing over and over again without me really intervening. So it was there, and so I've been happy enough with the Ring system. I wanted to add another camera, and so I just decided to stay in the Ring family instead of looking at any of the other options.
Sure.
And so yeah, I added the Ring Spotlight Cam, and so what that is it's the camera with a motion sensor and all those fun things. It's got a siren built into it, so if you want to blare somebody's ears out, you can do that. And then it's got a little spotlight that'll come on and kind of light things up at night as you see fit. Yeah, I mean, installing it wasn't too bad. I installed it on my soffits, and so unfortunately I have vinyl soffits, so I had to make something. So Shane, the handy dandy tool man.
Oh, that's one of the first things I think about when I think about you is your manly handyman skills.
Yeah, me at the hardware store, I need one of these. Yeah, what's funny was what I went to the hardware store and bought, I ended up not using because I ended up finding a better solution with random crap I had laying around in the garage. So
yep.
But yeah, I got it mounted. It's got 2 batteries, so that way hopefully you can cut down on the number of battery changes I have to do for it. And I think my only complaint with it right now is it's got the motion detector, but the motion detector's range is set to about 30 feet as the max.
Right.
Never really think about how long 30 feet is.
Your driveway is much longer than that.
My driveway is about 6 times longer than that.
Yeah.
So it's not the motion side of it's not doing what I wanted. But really, the biggest reason that we purchased it was because of where my driveway is. You're blind, right? There's no way from inside my house to see if there's someone parked in my driveway.
Yeah.
So that was the whole goal, was being able to see who was in the driveway or if someone was in the driveway. And so for that, boom, perfect win. All this other stuff is just kind of added bonuses, but I don't know. I now to be curious is do I then go? Were you here when we had both sets of garages?
No.
Okay. Right. So because the other set of garages went further that way, right? That's what made my driveway even longer. And so it's basically on the far back corner. So now what I'm thinking, the 30 feet barely reaches to in front of the garage doors that you knew. So now I'm thinking I need to put one on the front corner of that garage that then points down. So then that way, if someone was truly walking up the driveway, we could get, some quality photos of their face type of thing. So I don't know.
Excellent.
Things I think about.
Yeah. So for similar purposes, just a couple of days ago, I bought a couple of Blink cameras from Amazon. And I've not got them yet, but they should show up here in a couple of days. Similar things, I can't see easily what's going on in the garage and a couple of the blind spots. So those things are like $75 a piece. I figure I'd give those a shot.
And they're not there yet, so we don't know how they go.
No, I think they show up tomorrow.
That should be interesting. Yeah, Lori also wanted to know there is a solar charger for all the Ring stuff. So I wouldn't have to get up there and change it. Lori, I did not buy the solar charger, but it will work where the location gets enough sun. So I'm going to wait and see, if I have to change the batteries once a week, then yes, there'll be a solar charger in my future. If they last, a couple months, then probably not a solar charger. That's kind of the way I was going to go after it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's funny, right? We just kind of have accepted that there's these cameras now in our houses. One of the comments on Amazon was, can I talk to the NSA agent live who is watching my video feed? And I mean, I guess I get it. That yeah, you could definitely use my cameras to spy on me, but I don't care. I mean, if I'm standing in my driveway, it's not like I'm doing anything that I care that you see. So
yeah, I was gonna say you could use it more to spy on my neighbors, not so much me, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's so I think that's an interesting world that we're very Orwellian, right? We're getting into this whole we're bringing the spying devices into our homes and plugging them in
paying for them. We're purchasing the spying devices, and yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there was so Kevin's I was going to bring that up too, Kevin. There was a story about, I guess there's different police departments now that are supposedly running around and saying, hey, we'll give you a Ring doorbell, but we get to use the video feed. So in like high crime areas and things like that. So there's a whole bunch of privacy, battles going on with that. But once again, if you're like, hey, you're going to give me a $200 doorbell if I let you watch it, it's up to you. If you're not doing anything illegal in the front yard, do you really care?
Yeah.
It's a personal decision, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait to hear how your stuff turns out, and I'll definitely report back and let you guys know how my things work.
Good.
You have a couple of Power Appsy things that you wanted to tell the kids about?
Oh yeah, I threw a couple more videos out there because I don't know if you guys know this, but I make YouTube videos.
It's what you do.
I mean, we could tell Todd my subscriber number, but it just makes him so sad. He's in a good mood.
I start weeping. Yeah.
But yes, I did one on the Power Apps, like the ability to hide and show buttons based on different scenarios. It's a common request, right? Like you want to have an admin only button. So there's probably 10 different ways that you could have this admin only button. So I made a video that just kind of walks you through some of those different methods and ways to tackle that problem. So
good.
Pretty straightforward little piece of content. The other one was me being a bad person. So one of the biggest challenges with Power Apps to this day is working with files. All right, they don't really give us a great control to let someone upload an Excel spreadsheet and then go do something with that Excel spreadsheet. And there's different hacks and ways to do it today with like the add picture controls and things like that. But so what I figured out was about a year ago, they gave us a attachments control that only worked with SharePoint lists. And so it only shows up inside of a SharePoint or inside of a form control that is connected to a SharePoint list. This attachments control comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh, yay, that's what I always wanted. I got bored. So I went and grabbed that control out of the form, pulled it out. It cried and screamed bloody murder. I want to be part of the form. I coaxed it. I showed it all of the things that I could provide for it outside of the form and got it happy. And so then I was able to let my users interact, add and remove files the way they've always wanted. That was pretty exciting. So then I had to figure out how to get the data out of that control out when it was outside of a form, which was a whole new thing. So anyway, I reverse engineered some stuff and put out a video that shows you how to let people attach files and then send those files out in an email as email attachments. So it was pretty cool. It was kind of felt like I was hacking Power Apps. Especially because when I emailed the product team about it, and they're like, we hid it so people wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. But I mean, what they were concerned about was people couldn't figure out how to do that on their own, so that's why they hid it. They were okay with me walking someone holding their hand and showing them how to do it because they
Right.
could never write the documentation that would show all this. So it's not a thing they provided. It's some dumb idea Shane came up with. Go talk to him if you had a problem with that method.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is like solving that. Now I've got like 7 more scenarios where I can apply that. So I just got to go and make the content around how to use that for some other different Power Appsy scenarios. But it was fun to kind of get in there and like make Power Apps once again do something Power Apps was not supposed to do.
There you go. Thinking outside the box. I like it.
So I'm a bad person.
All right. Well, for community events, I don't know what much there is going on. For promotional stuff, I really don't have anything on the slate. I'm going to Slovenia to the Thrive Conference the second week of November. I will be at Ignite. I will not be speaking, but if you're going to be at Ignite, let me know. I'm happy to come meet up and say hey. What do you got going on?
So I'm doing a flow thing next week, but goodness knows this show will not be out by then, so I won't even mention that.
Nope.
And then I am, like you, I've got something in somewhere in October. I'm going to Orlando to speak at the Business Application User Group Summit thing. So I'm speaking down there. I'm the track lead for it. I probably should know more about it, but
You should. Yeah, it sounds like something you'd want to know about. Yeah.
yeah, it's just more work. I ain't got time for all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll be down there. It's in Orlando in October. Yeah, like you, I am not speaking at Ignite as of the moment, so I'm still trying to bribe some people, see if I can get my way in there, but not looking real good there. Yeah, that's the stuff I know.
Outstanding. All right. Well, we'll try to get a couple of the older podcasts produced so that we're not as far behind. But thanks everybody online. We will see you in a bit in the chat room. We'll be around in the chat room chatting for a while. So we'll see if we can maybe do this 2 weeks in a row. I don't know.
I'm not promising that.
No.
Let's see. Next week, next Wednesday. Nope, I am teaching class.
There we go.
Always something.
Well, who knows? I think September's looking good. All right. See everybody in the recording. We'll see you when we see you. Chat room, stick around for a bit. We'll talk to you in there. Bye, everybody.
Toodles.
And we're out of. Not that I'll probably ever produce this, but that's where I will cut it.
Really, we just do this show.
Yep. What Model X stuff were you going to talk about?
Just the fact that I got one, and just kind of, we've moved to all electric family, and it's lots of fun. Yeah, it's funny. It definitely has nuances that are different. So,
Good,
the whole
different,
the doors open and close all the time for you. Nicola gets really aggravated with the car about that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I refuse to touch the doors. I'm like, no, that door will open for me, and that door will close for me.
I'm above that.
Yes, I do not touch doors. I think that's interesting. And then, I think I told you, like, when we first got it, I was still kind of feeling it out as far as, like, how truly fast it is. And I still do not think I've found the complete answer to that, but it's fast.
Yeah.
Right? It's so weird, right? It's, roughly 60% faster than our cars, and our cars are way too fast as it is.
Yep. Yep.
And I think part of the problem with that has been, I just put tires on the S, and that was, traumatic, right? At 28,000 miles, spending that much money to buy tires. So I find myself less likely to, launch the what out of it.
Tear through these tires too.
Yeah. Because, we got the big rims, not on purpose, on the X, and so God only knows what those tires are going to cost.
Yeah. I only have 24,000 on mine.
Man, you've caught me.
Yeah. I got a software update last night. I haven't checked to see what it added, but
we got one like 2 or 3 days ago, and I don't think it added anything of like noteworthiness.
I'm at 28.3 now. I was at 24.4. Now I'm at 28.3.
Are you still liking Teslafy?
Love it. Love it. Love it. So when we went to Antigua, I left the car at the airport and left Sentry mode and everything on. I lost 18 miles a day of range for
Oh,
every
wow.
day with everything turned on. Yeah. But I planned on that and I knew we had enough. It was good.
Oh man, you are. Yeah, I'm at 28.7. So yeah, I am just ahead of you for being 9 months newer than you.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think I still have Sentry mode on in the car, but not that it does anything, right? Because my car doesn't have the computer that can actually write it to the USB. The X does, but I've not figured out that. So.
Yeah.
The other really fun thing, right, that you would enjoy is because I'm sure you've got it programmed to open the garage automatically for you.
Yep.
And so, it used to just be called like garage, right? But now it's the S garage and the X garage, right? And they both show up on there, and it's a lot of fun. And I was really scared. So we've talked about this before, but right, in this house, there are several things that are older than the house. The garage door opener is one of them.
Yes.
And so every time we get a new car, it's always like, is this the time we got to buy a new garage door opener to program that thing? And I don't remember how I did it. I probably should have wrote it down. I probably need to know one day. But yeah, it probably took me an hour to figure out like how to trick the car and the garage door opener to work together. It was not the simple, experience that the modern garage door is.
Yeah, mine wasn't too bad. I've got so mine wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
It works.
Mine was before the current rolling code system, but it had its own proprietary rolling code system.
Oh, well, that's proprietary is always good.
Yeah. It's like I said, every time I have to program a car to it, I'm like, ooh. But
Yeah, I stumbled on the thing where I've run out. I've got more remotes than my garage door opener will handle.
yep.
So I've had some, got to do some juggling on that. Like currently my keypad does not work. Because I know if I add it back in, it's going to push something else off. So
You got 2 cars. So how many does it only do 3? Is that?
it does 8. So I've got the little internet box so I can control my garage door with the phone.
Okay.
Joel's car, my car, garage door opener in the Trans Am. And then there was the keypad. The nanny had a garage door opener. The niece had a garage door opener. So maybe it does 6. I mean, it does what should be more than enough for anybody, but yet somehow we're like 1 or 2 over.
Gotcha. And what do you have for garage? Do you just have like one double door?
We have a double door and a single door. We have 3.
And so both of them have the same problem? Like, could you just put like the nanny and whoever on the single door and then the other on the double? And
yes, yes, that would work. Just the way that we've got stuff in the garage, that would be a tremendous pain in the butt to come in that door and then walk around all the stuff in the garage to get into the house every single time you came and left the house. But yes, technically it would work. The other thing that would work is if I bought a new garage door opener that had the internet stuff built in.
Yeah.
Which I've considered doing.
And so what we do for all those rando people that you were listing, right, that don't really need garage door opens, just need the house, right? We did the keypad on the front door, so that way.
I have that also, so I could do that. Yeah. Just the way we normally get in and out of the house is through the garage door. So, but yeah, that
Fun
would
times.
Yep. All right. I gotta go do the thing. Gotta go talk to a guy about a horse.
Yeah, I gotta go fix this rest of this app.
Go save the world.
I will. I'll talk to you. Bye,
ya.
chat
Bye.
room.